Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Huddle.
Where we talk about football.
And we talk about football basically every week with just Levi Jenkins and Elijah Kilber. But this week, we're talking about football with our friend and guest on today's episode, DJ Crouse.
Woo! Yeah.
Thanks for finally having me on, guys.
Yeah, thanks for...
Way past it.
Yeah. Thanks to Sydney for finally let you do this. So
It's probably past DJ's bedtime.
It's close.
Also, I want to apologize in advance if these two end up talking about the wrong football, aka
That's
soccer. I will probably cut it out so you won't hear it, but still, if it does happen to get in,
This is why we need a new editor, because of live mistake. Anyways, let's stay on task this episode. Last week, we went over AFC East, gave you our predictions for those. This week, it's time for the best division of football, the AFC North.
Oh, is that my punt? Okay.
I don't even know. We have an extra guy with us, and we had longer pause of silence than we usually did. Well, anyway, AFC North, Ravens, Browns, Bengals, and Steelers. Elijah, just started off. Kick us off with the team.
All right, let's start with the Browns.
All right.
Yeah, so I have them going 9-8, which I think is pretty generous considering that they are the Browns. 4-2 in the division. And I think their defense is really good still, and I think defense wins championships is a good phrase. So I know their offense. Nick Chubb got hurt. I don't know how well he's going to be doing when he comes back, but I imagine he'll be fine. And Deshaun Watson is still questionable, but like I said, defense wins championships, and when you got a good defense, then a lot of the times that can carry you all the way. So
you're talking about like all those almost sacks that defense gets.
Right? Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, because defensive pressures are actually more important than a sack.
Right, I mean, apparently, yeah.
Hey, I just want to say, if there is someone not in our family that is watching this, like the NFL, how about we start not like automatically picking a random player at the start of the year and then make him the MVP or the defensive player of the year? They just randomly said Myles Garrett at the start of the year and Josh Allen, and they wanted to pick them. I know Josh Allen wasn't picked, but still, they just randomly said Myles Garrett, and that's what they went with.
That's true, and then they just glazed him.
Exactly.
And anyway, nothing the last 8 weeks.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Yep.
Terrible. Yeah, for me, I have them going just one game worse, 8-9. I think they can do better than 8-9. But once again, I'm sick and tired of people overhyping this team. The Browns aren't good. They never were good. They had a couple seasons. Yeah, we know Baker Mayfield beat us in the playoffs. Whatever. I don't think Deshaun Watson will ever be the quarterback he ever was. Can he be? Do I want him to be? Kind of. Part of me still hates him for what he did. Just saying. Nick Chubb, let's see how he bounces back from this injury, but it's going to be interesting. Obviously, a lot added Jerry Jeudy in the offseason.
But come on. Is that really
that could be a big part in that wide receiving core. But I have them 8-9, 1-5 in the division. They start off the year with 4 straight wins, and then it's just mid throughout the rest of the season. Key games, I guess, for me is week 14 through week 18. They got Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Miami, Baltimore. Every single one of those games is going to lose.
Wow.
And that's what tanks their playoff hopes, and that's what keeps them at the bottom of the AFC North.
What was your record again?
8-9.
Oh, okay. All right. I like it.
DJ, any words?
Yeah, I'm thinking very similar to you, Levi. I actually have their overall record at 7-10.
Wow.
I mean, other than Jerry Jeudy, I just feel like they did not add nearly as much as every single other team in this division, and I think that's going to hurt them just depth-wise throughout the year, because there's always going to be injuries, and I don't trust their backup running backs and tight ends specifically, because Njoku and Chubb always seem to get hurt.
That's true, but man, Jerome Ford, he kind of popped off last year once Chubb got hurt, so he could be a scary backup.
Yeah.
Whatever
you say.
And as far as keep
anyway,
go,
that's it for the
games
clowns.
go, I have the same thing from the last 5 weeks, I have them losing every single one of those games. I have the
Dang.
division being fairly tight, but up until
Yep.
that point, but then they just kind of fall out of the race.
There you go.
That's the Cleveland Browns. They suck.
Yep.
Get over it. All right. Next team. Let's stay in Ohio. But we're going over to Cincinnati, the Bengals. Last year, Joe Burrow started off the season pretty slow because he was still coming off that calf injury. Then he got hurt even worse, missed the rest of the season. Jake Browning looked like the second coming of Joe Burrow for like 2 weeks and then sucked. So a lot of interesting people also left. And I don't even think they have like a clear number one running back right now. But anyways, healthy Joe Burrow. They got T. Higgins for another year. Lost Tyler Boyd, but they also got Jamar Chase. I think the Bengals are still finishing at 11-6. They're going to be one of the best teams still in the AFC. But interestingly enough, they're taking third in this division. So 11-6, 3-3, playing divisional games. Their longest streak, weeks 1 through 6, they're winning 6 straight games.
Wow. Good for them.
Yeah. Congratulations, Joe Burrow. And they have a pretty good season throughout the rest of it. But an absolute key game for them is going to be, I think, that last game against us. We know that the Steelers own the Bengals. Just face it, we do. So that last game, I think, can determine so much, not only for us, not only for the Bengals, but for the rest of the division and how that seeds out and the rest of the conference. So I think that big divisional game at the end of the season is what could really shape out to be X factor in the majority of the conference.
All right. I am also. Oh, I'll get to that later, actually. But I have them at 10-7, and I originally think I had them higher, had a better record, but then I remembered that they lost their offensive coordinator to the Titans, so that made me want to bring them down a little bit. I don't really know how much that does affect, but their longest streak, it's tied week 1 through 4, and then week 14 through 17. And a key game will be Pittsburgh, like you said, Levi, week 18. Basically, that puts them, if they win that game against Pittsburgh, that puts them at the 5th seed in my playoffs. But they don't in my predictions. So they go to the 6th seed behind the Steelers. So, I don't know. They're still a good team. Just, I don't think they're the best in this division, which it's a good division. So
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I also have them at 10-7, and I think a key aspect for the Bengals is just their defense is the worst in this division, which is going to hurt them in the divisional games.
Yep.
I have them splitting them 3-3, winning all their home games but losing all their away games. And I think a pivotal game is going to be the back-to-back stretch that they have of at the Browns and then home against the Eagles. I have them losing both of those games, which will probably either leave them at the 7th seed or just out of the playoffs altogether.
Ravens, I have them going 12-5, which is a pretty good record, and I always hate giving the Ravens a good record, but they are a good team, and I have to admit that. They go 2-4 in the division, though. And they have a really long streak, week 1 through 7 of wins. I mean, they're beating good teams too, like Kansas City, Dallas, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, I guess. But yeah, this team's definitely going to be a lot different with Derrick Henry and a Zay Flowers that will hopefully be a lot better, who was really good last year too. And then their defense is still insane as always. So, yeah.
Lost Patrick Queen in the middle.
Okay, but they still have Roquan Smith, so I'm not too worried, you know.
Right.
And of course, they got the Notre Dame guy, Kyle Hamilton. So, again, not too worried.
Yeah. Obviously, still got Marlon Humphrey. They lost Geno Stone. But still, overall, that's still a pretty scary defense for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I have them finishing 11-6, 4-2 in the division. Weeks 8 through 12, that's their best stretch of the season, winning 5 straight games against Cleveland, Denver, Cincy, us, and the Chargers. Absolute key game for them, I would say, is week 1, starting the season off with a win. I have them beating the Chiefs in week 1. And then I would say those last final 3 games against Pittsburgh, Houston, and Cleveland, those are going to be big. I have them going 2-1, losing to us. But 2 divisional games and a rematch of a playoff game last year, I think could really be interesting, especially where I think both of these teams got better in the offseason, talking about Houston and Baltimore. And I think that could be a really big game late in the season proceeding in the playoffs.
I have the Ravens going 12-5.
Nice.
I have them going 4-2 in the division, and I think weeks 6 through 11 they're going to win 6 games in a row. I have them losing to the Chiefs on opening night. I also have them losing to the Bills at home, which would be a bit of a shock.
Yeah.
But Bills in the regular season are different than Bills in the playoffs. So,
but Bills with players minus Bills with just Josh Allen is also completely different.
That's
yeah.
And I think for the Ravens, their key games, I would say those last 3, I have them losing at home to the Steelers, and then I have them losing on the road against the Texans. I am not predicting a sophomore slump for Stroud. I think he's going to at least maintain what he did last year. So I am not picturing the Texans losing many home games.
I agree. Yeah, I think I had CJ Stroud as my MVP for this season. So yeah. So I guess we could just move on because I'd like to talk about an actually good team.
Yeah, like come on, let's go.
Here we go.
Steelers.
Here we go.
Pittsburgh's going to the
DJ. You can finish it here.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right.
Steel curtain session.
Yeah.
Freaking go.
Woo.
I mean, this is going to either be a heartbreak of a season or a great season. Or just a 9-8 season, but whatever.
It's probably that.
Let's start it off. Who wants to go first? Because it doesn't matter to me.
I'll go first.
All right, Ryan, take it away.
So, first off, I know maybe people were thinking, you guys are going to be biased with your decisions and stuff, and that's 100% true because I will definitely put the Steelers at a higher record than they most realistically would be. So, I have them going 11-6. I do like what they've done this offseason, obviously. They got really busy with Patrick Queen, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Scotty Miller,
Van Jefferson.
Yeah.
What's the other guy?
Cordell Patterson.
Quez Watkins.
I mean, what an amazing offseason, right? But anyway, I think we got rid of what our biggest problem was, and that was Matt Canada.
I think you were going to say Kenny Pickett.
Oh, no, I'm still a Kenny Pickett believer, by the way. But I think Arthur Smith is a good offensive coordinator. Obviously, he didn't do well as a coach, but they're kind of 2 different jobs, if you ask me. And I'm just saying that because I'm a Steelers fan and I want him to do well.
Well, but you're completely right, too. They are.
Yeah. But anyway, I like what Arthur Smith's offense can do, especially with Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris and also, I guess, Cordell Patterson, too. And I think we should definitely focus on the run game because that's, for the past couple of years, what well, I guess it really wasn't even that great the past couple of years. But still, we have good running backs, and I think it's definitely – and good tight ends, too, and a good young offensive line hopefully will be good. So I'm excited to see what Arthur Smith can do. Obviously, not too thrilled about Scotty Miller and Van Jefferson, but
and that other tight end.
Yeah, Michael Pruitt. Yeah,
Pruitt. That's it. Yeah,
exactly. So, but anyway, I mean, TJ Watt is still the best player of all time, and We still got Alex Highsmith, Cam Hayward, who's kind of questionable at this point with his age, but I think he can still produce. Keanu Benton in the interior, Minka, obviously.
Okay, are you just gonna name off like the whole 53-man
Absolutely,
roster?
yeah. I just want people to. I just want people to know, we've got the best defense in the NFL, and I want people to know who's on it. Joey Porter Jr.,
Beanie
Corey
Bishop.
Trice, Beanie Bishop. Let's go. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, and of course Patrick Queen, if I didn't say that already. But I think our defense will definitely do well, which I said with the Browns. Defense wins championships, and obviously that's how the Steelers have been doing it for the past 5 years. But key game, I think, will be Week 7 against the New York Jets. That is Aaron Rodgers' team, if he actually decides to show up. That's important because after the bye week, it's basically
hell.
Yeah.
It is straight hell.
Exactly. So they have to basically beat Atlanta, Denver. I mean, if you can, LA, Indianapolis, Dallas again, if you can. Vegas, that's a easy win, I think. Jets, that can go either way. And then Giants should be pretty easy. But that's why I have that as the key game. And if you're not winning that game, like you said, it's basically hell after the bye week. So we have to do. We have to get as many wins as possible that we can win, because I don't see us beating Kansas City, Philadelphia. I guess that's it. But especially if we're back to back with all of our divisions. So it's we gotta get all the wins we can. And I have them going 5-1 in the division. Again, bias, maybe, probably, absolutely. Anyway, Levi, take away what you got.
Thank you for that yap session. Pittsburgh Steelers. I got us at 12-5, 4-2 in the division. We're winning the AFC North with that record.
Nice.
The bold take, but I think it's going to happen. We start off the season very, very good. Up weeks 1 through 8. Obviously, week 9's our bye week. So weeks 1 through 8, we are 7-1. Our only loss coming to Anthony Richardson and the Indianapolis Colts. Yes, we're beating the Jets. We're going to be Atlanta week 1 with Kirk Cousins. We're going to beat Dallas. I have a really good feeling that that's going to happen. JPJ on CeeDee Lamb should be a fun matchup to watch. If he stays. Anyways, that's for the first half of the season. Second half of the season, which we can get into a little bit later, it's patchy. That's when the majority of our losses come in. And I don't even understand who made this schedule. What Browns fan?
Whoever voted Myles Garrett as the
exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's not even fair, the second half of the season. But we basically go just alternate games between wins and losses. I think we actually do. I was beating Washington, losing to Baltimore, winning against Cleveland, losing to Cincy, winning against Cleveland again, losing to Philly, beating Baltimore, losing to Kansas City, winning to Cincinnati. So it's back and forth and back and forth. Just about 500 on that second half of the season. But overall, I think Russell Wilson plays well. If not, and we bench him at the halfway mark, if we're not doing good, it could be very, very tough for Justin Fields in that second half of the season. And if we don't do good in the first half of the season, I would bid farewell to all possibilities of us finishing over 500 and making the playoffs.
I hate to sound like I'm just repeating everything that you said, but I also have the Steelers at 12-5.
Nice.
Going forward in the division.
I think we were looking at it right, DJ. We have the same exact thing.
Yes, we have the same exact everything. I have them tied with the Ravens at 12-5 and both going 4-2 in the division. I don't know exactly how the tiebreakers would work in that scenario.
It would be, I think it's really complicated, but it's like after divisional, I think it's home or no, in conference wins against the same teams.
Does it go score? Does the score get involved at all?
No, I think that's later on. Or maybe it is score. Yeah.
I imagine it's score first, and then if that somehow
No,
is.
I just had to do I was making my predictions. I had to do the in conference thing because
Oh, okay.
obviously we didn't predict scores. But
Yeah.
anyways, go ahead, DJ. Sorry.
Yeah, so I have major beef with whoever is the schedule maker. The fact that we don't have a divisional game until week 11 is absurd.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that whoever voted for Myles Garrett.
It's just saying like, tell us you're against the Steelers without telling us you're for the Steelers.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, also
you
have
know,
like
not one person in their right mind would ever say, "Oh yeah, you know what? Chiefs just won the Super Bowl. Let's give them a tough schedule. I mean, their division sucks, but let's put all their division games in the last 8 weeks of the season." No. Why the Steelers?
and also sprinkle in the
Philadelphia,
Yeah.
Kansas
Yeah.
City.
Yeah. Oh well, we just gotta prove ourselves, you know. If
Yeah.
we beat them all, imagine
You
we.
still hit that one
You know?
kid on the bench on like every sports team.
The problem is, the biggest fear I have is just like the injuries because those are going to be some rough games, and I mean,
Yeah, this team has to stay healthy.
yeah,
100%.
if TJ Watt is not on that field,
The only thing I'm hopeful about is that the fact that our front half of the schedule is pretty easy, so maybe we can rest some guys and like really rotate through,
yeah, that's a good point.
and then like honestly see what we have in some of those second string guys because they're going to be needed in the second half of the season anyway.
Yeah,
I guess this can segue in to our next session if everybody's ready.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So we're just going to talk about what's more important, the beginning half of the season, weeks 1 through 9, or weeks 10 through 18. But I'm looking at the schedule, right? And we got 2 Sunday night games in a row, or Sunday games in a row, Washington and then the Ravens. And we have a short week. We play the Browns. I have a full week and a half to recover against the Bengals. My point is, anyways, after we play the Eagles, we only have 6 days to get ready for the Ravens because we play them on a Saturday. After that, we play the Chiefs on Christmas, like 4 days later.
Oof.
I don't even understand how that's like. You go from playing the biggest rivalry in sports on, I guess that's Saturday the 21st, and then literally 4 days later, 4 or 5 days later, you're playing the Chiefs on Christmas. I don't know who's thinking through these things and saying that, first of all, this is even healthy for a human being to be doing. Second of all, that's just stupid. Like, who came up with that idea? Honestly.
Yeah, they definitely messed up there. And I'm sure they're willing to admit it. I think they did admit that they definitely messed up on that schedule. But yeah, it's definitely important that they do win out that first half of the year because they're definitely winnable games. I mean, Atlanta, they could be good, but I'm gonna imagine. Let's just pretend that they're a team that we can beat right now. They're a team that we can beat, so we win that game.
Right.
Denver, that's an easy win. I mean, they don't really have anybody. LA, they don't have any receivers. Indianapolis, they're a good team, but I still think that's a beatable team. Dallas, that might be a hard one, but also it's Dallas, so I wouldn't be surprised if we did win that game. Vegas, we usually come out on a win with that one.
We have 2 straight seasons, yeah.
Yeah, the Jets. It just depends again if Aaron Rodgers is there, and the Giants, who have Daniel Jones. So I think if we win, let's say that's 8 games. If we even win like 6, that's a good start.
Right.
To
But
it
6 wins is not enough to get us even a top 2 team in the division.
But
And we can't look, like the Steeler players cannot look at games because we know they do. It's the history of the Steelers. They look at games and like, oh, this is an easy game. No, we lost to the Patriots last year. We lost to the Cardinals last year. If we won those 2 games, we would have taken first in the division. I know it sounds crazy, but if we would have won those 2 games, we would have been the best team in the division because we would have won on divisional games. It's just like, it's these games that we can't take for granted. We have to play 100% the entire season. And a big thing, too, is we cannot be afraid to change. If Wilson sucks, put in Fields. If Arthur Smith is not doing any better than Canada, fire him.
Wow. Not even a
We
year
have to be
in.
aggressive this year. We went all out in the draft, went all out in free agency. We still have a shot at maybe trading for Brennan Ayuk. So I think we have to be aggressive this entire season. If we're trying to get back to winning a ring, we have to be smart. We have to make quick but still smart decisions.
Yeah, I think that the beginning half of the year is more important simply because we know a Mike Tomlin team is going to win a couple games that they probably should not win against those tough opponents, especially on the road. He loves to be an underdog.
Yeah.
But are they going to win the games that they definitely should win
That's
against the Raiders
yeah.
or like home against the Los Angeles Chargers, who even like who knows what they're even trying to do over there?
Yeah, that's true. The Steelers are that team that can easily lose to, I mean, like you said, Levi, the Patriots and the Cardinals last year. So, yeah, that's a good point. But, and then, like DJ said, we can easily beat a good team, too. So, I
Right.
mean, look out, Eagles, look out, Chiefs.
It has to be consistent this year.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. DJ, we'll start with you. And we're going to go through our top 10 Pittsburgh Steelers entering this season. Who do we think? Not necessarily who's the best. Maybe. However you want to look at it. But who are your top 10 Pittsburgh Steelers going into this year?
Do you want me to go from 10 to 1?
Yeah. 10 to 1, yeah.
All right, I kind of viewed this as like most important to the season, not necessarily like best players on the roster.
All right.
So at number 10, I have just the tight ends. I have Freiermuth and Washington in that spot, just because I'm really interested to see how Arthur Smith uses them, because they were basically non-factors the last year and a half.
Now, Muth was hurt, and we didn't know how to use Darnell Washington. But
Yeah.
I don't understand how you can't figure out how to use a guy who's
who is that big? Nobody's tackling him in open space.
Yeah.
No.
Like, just find a way to get the ball into his hands.
Yeah, and I'd even include Connor Hayward to that too, because he's been a good part of our offense. If you consider him a tight end, I don't really know.
And Michael Pruitt, right?
No, he's getting cut.
We won. What's his name?
He's more of like a H-back flex thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we want Zach Gentry back.
No, we want Phil Dracovic or whatever from Pitt. What was his name?
Get out of here. Keep going.
No, he's from Boston College. We don't claim him.
All right.
Yeah, but we don't want him.
I'm not a Pitt fan, so I don't really care. So, anyway, go ahead, DJ.
All right, my number 9. You guys thought this was a little controversial, but I have Cam Sutton as my 9. I think that we missed him more than we realized last year playing slot, and having him back is going to be great.
I'm going to be honest. I completely forgot we got him back.
Yeah. Well, how much will we have him back for, though? That's the thing I'm worried about. Because obviously he's going to have some time off. But
no, I don't think he's getting suspended.
I think he probably would at least have maybe 3 weeks. However, if he does, when he does get in, I think he'll also be a good part, or he can play safety too. And we've had some safety injuries in the past couple of years, but
yeah.
He could play safety, he could play a slot, he could play whatever. And I am excited about that. And he knows his defense, obviously. And literally the day he got signed, he was already at practice. So I think that's a good sign. And I'm happy to have him back. And I respect it now. Whenever you first sent it, and I was thinking like best players, I wasn't thinking Cam Sutton. When you said most important, that does make a little bit more sense. So
yeah, and when he was on the team last, we didn't have a lockdown corner in Joey Porter Jr., so actually having that allows him to be way more useful.
Yeah.
Right. And especially with Dante Jackson, too, on the other side.
Yeah, and Beanie Bishop also, so...
well, we're playing Corey Trice over him, whether you like it or not.
I don't, but...
if he's fit.
We'll see.
Yes, my number 8 is Cordell Patterson. I think having a good returner and also just a Swiss Army knife on offense is going to be fun. Especially because he works in any Arthur Smith system.
Yeah. Real quick, I don't mean to pause you between every single number because it's going to take forever. But I'm saying Patterson has at least 3 return kicks for touchdowns this year.
Wow.
Whether that's a punt, return, or a touchdown, he's getting 3.
I think that
Be
go
3
ahead.
we've had in the last couple of years.
Yeah. I think the kickoff rules definitely will help with that too because
Yeah, that's the main reason.
yeah.
Sure.
And of course he's probably the best to do it since Devin Hester, so
Or Gunnar Olszewski,
yeah. Okay.
Ryan Switzer,
Yeah, hey, I mean
Ray
whatever.
Ray McLeod.
All right.
All right, we need to shut up. Talk,
Yeah.
DJ.
All right, number 7, Joey Porter Jr. I'm expecting him to have another good year. As long as there's no injuries, I don't see why he can't be like a top 5 corner.
Do you see him as like a pick machine or just like lockdown like he was last year? Like he had one pick, but he was like locking down everybody. Nobody was getting that ball.
I see him as pretty much like a Darrell Revis.
Okay.
No one's even going to want to throw him the ball, so
Yeah.
he's not going to get many pick opportunities. I mean, we do play a lot of zone, so he might get some that way, but we're playing less zone now that we have actually good corners.
Good. All right. What's next? Number 6 or
6, Patrick Queen. We have needed a really solid middle linebacker for a really long time, and he's hopefully going to fill that hole. And
Agreed.
really, I'm assuming he's going to elevate our defense to the next level. And then number 5.
Absolutely. With that secondary we have, with
Yeah.
TJ and Highsmith running at you, and then you got that guy in the middle. Absolutely.
That was really our one
These
week.
defense should have no excuse.
Number 5, I have Russell Wilson. I don't think he's going to be anything near what he was in like 2014, but I'm also not expecting him to be as bad as he was last year.
He wasn't even bad last year.
I knew Levi was going to say something. I
He put
knew
up Mahomes
something was
numbers.
coming.
Or Mahomes put up Russell Wilson numbers last year. That's how we should look at it.
Whatever.
Number 4, Cam Hayward. I know he's old, but just having that absolute rock in the middle of your defensive line, just taking up two guys on almost every single play. It's just he frees up TJ Watt and Highsmith so often. I think as long as he can stay healthy, he'll be a major contributor again. Number 3, I have George Pickens. I'm expecting more consistency, really. That's the only thing that he hasn't shown. I think he obviously has like the diva tendency that all Steelers wide receivers seem to have, but I feel like he might for once realize that he doesn't have to let the switch flip and he can just be a team player.
Yeah. And we saw like whenever he does have a good game and he's like in a good mood, like that's kind of nice to see. But
But
yeah,
we can't always keep him in a good mood.
no,
And
that's
he
true.
has
But
to learn that he doesn't always have to be in a good mood.
true. But also he's probably the only good receiver on our team right now. So I imagine he'll be getting the ball.
I wouldn't
quite
say
often.
he's the only good one, but I think he's the only proven one as of right now.
And I think Arthur Smith is smart enough to know that he needs to get Pickens the ball early in the game.
Yeah. And I think a good quarterback who can get a deep ball to George Pickens is Russell Wilson. I think
Yeah.
that is one of his
Kenny
special
Pickett couldn't
skills.
throw the ball longer than 25 yards down the field.
It's true.
And that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
And you saw how explosive Pickens got when he had Rudolph thrown to him. I mean, deep ball after deep ball. That's why Pickens had the number one, or had the longest yards per catch in the NFL last year. It was like 18.3. So
And don't forget Mitch Trubisky, who gave George
shut
Pickens
up
his
and
best
move
catch.
on. I don't
of
even
all
want to
time.
hear his name on this podcast. You're gonna make me like go out in hives. Oh,
I don't
that's
even
bad.
think that is. I blocked him from my memory.
Yeah. I knew he was going to be bad. I called it from the start, but I guess just about anybody could have said that too. But I like to give myself credit. All right, go ahead on to your next one, DJ.
All right, my top 2, pretty predictable. I have Minka number 2, and then TJ Watt number 1. He's the best defensive player in the NFL, even if the awards don't want to prove it.
I agree. And I say we just go onto your list now, Levi, because you can obviously talk more about your guys anyway. So
Yeah. Starting at number 10, I got Muth. Obviously, he's going to come into the final year of his rookie contract. I think we should re-sign him at the end of the season. Anyways, he's coming out of an injury season. But when he was in that first game, when he came back against the Cincinnati Bengals, dude, he was insane. I cannot wait to be screaming Muth like all year. Number 9, I got JPJ. I don't want to say it, but I can see a decrease in skill this year.
What?
I can see it happening. I don't think it will. I'm praying it won't, but I can see it happening. I definitely want more discipline in his penalties, though. Obviously, that killed us whenever he was first getting the start last year. And then once again, just improvement in his tackling. And I think he's a top 10 corner in the league. Number 8, I got Jalen Warren. He's so versatile in the run game and passing game. There's not much more to say about him. One of the most underrated running backs in the league. Number 7, I got Alex Highsmith. We said last year, Elijah, he was poised for a breakout.
I think he did. No, I would argue that 2 interceptions and like forced fumbles that he did. I'd say that was.
I guess the
He
sack number, I don't even know how many sacks he had.
I think he had maybe around.
He was leading the league for a while, right?
I think so. Well, I don't know. I know it wasn't as good because the year before he had 14 and a half, and obviously it wasn't as good as that.
I think he had like 10 or something this year, but still, Highsmith definitely going to be important going into this year. Number 6, I got Russell Wilson. He should be our number 1 quarterback throughout the entire season. I'm looking forward to seeing him play. You guys all know I'm a big fan of him. I think his leadership honestly might be better for this team than the skill. We know Kenny Pickett didn't have that leadership, and we really haven't had that guy since Ben retired. Number 5, I got Patrick Queen. This entire middle linebacker group can be really good. It just depends on how we want to do things, whether Cole Holcomb comes back as healthy. We got Peyton Wilson as well, Landon Roberts. I don't think we re-signed Quan, right?
No, we did not.
Yeah. So those are 4 big guys that all deserve to be playing, but I could see Landon Roberts maybe getting cut to save some cap space or traded maybe before the season starts. But Patrick Queen definitely, as DJ said, he fills that number 1 linebacker role that we really haven't had since Shazier and should take this defense to the next level. Number 4, I got Najee Harris. I think he will break the 1,000-yard barrier again this year. I think he will earn himself a new contract, and I think he will be here in Pittsburgh thriving for a very, very long time under this new offensive line. Number 3, I got Minkah Fitzpatrick, debatably one of the best safeties in the NFL. Not much really I'm expecting from him. I don't really care what his stats say. If he's playing well, then he's playing well, and also just a huge leader in the back. He has to stay healthy, but I think we can trust Miles Killebrew somewhat. I feel like he's a lot more special teams, but Deshaun Elliott, definitely big that we signed him in the offseason. Number 2, George Pickens, as we talked about earlier, just needs to stay disciplined and just give him the ball. Just give the guy the stinking ball and let him do the rest. Number 1, no surprise here, TJ Watt, and I don't think there's much to say about him. He's by far the Steelers' most important player, and I would argue he's the most important player in the league. I'm delusional. But that's my top 10. You may ask, no Cameron Hayward. It's not that I don't think he is important, but I think we played okay without him last year.
Would you give him, if we did 11, would you put him at 11?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I would even argue Hayward is over Warren, JPJ, or Muth in this list. But I think Hayward will probably take a step down coming off of an injury just with his age. And I think that I think he's more replaceable. And I don't like saying that at all, but we drafted what's that guy's name? Logan Lee. He was pretty tough. We got Benton. So I think for as much as we will miss Hayward in the future, I think we have other guys that are more valuable to this team as of right now. And I hate saying that. I love Hayward, but that's just my take.
All right. I also would agree with the Cam Hayward thing too. He would have been at number 11 for me also. But number 10 is JPJ. What you said about his decrease, I wouldn't say so much a decrease, but I think it's more chances to see him maybe have a couple mistakes because he'll be out there more. He's our number one cornerback, and he's guarding a lot more top receivers now. So I don't think it's going to be a decrease, but more of just more chances for him. Number 9 is Muth. I think he can be one of the best tight ends in the league. So I got him at 9. Number 8, Jalen Warren. Has been a really good running back for us, and I think obviously he'd have been given more chances. He'd probably be 1,000 running back. He was in 1,000 yard like overall receiving and running. So I think that's why I kind of put him at 8. 7, I put Najee Harris. I didn't want to put him too far ahead of Warren because I think they're pretty similar. Russell Wilson at number 6. Like DJ said, I don't think he's going to be as good as he was back in the day, but he'll get the job done. And if he throws the ball down the field to George Pickens, then I don't see why he wouldn't be a great quarterback for us. Number 5 is Pickens. Just get him the ball, and I think he'll do fine. Obviously, we talked about the attitude stuff, but again, if we get him a ball, I think he'll be fine. Alex Highsmith at number 4. I really like Alex Highsmith, and I think that along with TJ Watt, I think they are the best pass rush duo in the league. And I think if TJ Watt wasn't on our team, Highsmith would be one of the best rushers in the league. I just think TJ gets to the quarterbacks faster. So number 3 is Patrick Queen. Big boost for our interior linebackers. Great defensive player. Number 2 is, of course, Minka, probably one of the biggest key players on our team besides TJ. And then number 1 is Beanie Bishop. I think that he will be a star cornerback in the slot, whether or not he starts. But I just think his presence there, along with Zach Frazier, the West Virginia Mountaineers, I just think that's what matters in Pittsburgh. So, obviously TJ Watt's my number 1. So, yeah, best defensive player in the league. So, yeah.
Honorary mention?
What?
Is Dax Flame an honorary mention?
Yeah, Dax Flame. If we sign you to the Steelers, I would love nothing more.
For context, Elijah thinks Dax Flame is hilarious and says it to an Instagram Reel group chat me, DJ, and Elijah have.
Yes.
And nobody thinks he's funny but Elijah.
It's not that he's funny. It's the video that's funny.
But they're not funny.
Yes, they are. You don't understand. If you don't think it's funny, then you just don't understand. You don't understand it. That's why. Go. I encourage you to go watch Dax Flame.
I encourage you not to listen.
Yeah.
If not, I will.
Anyways, just to recap from today's episode, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers finishing 12-5. DJ has the Pittsburgh Steelers finishing at 12-5. Elijah 11-6.
Yep.
Right. So pretty close. I think throughout the entire division, we predicted these teams like within a game or the same records as each other. So I think it's kind of predictable, but definitely will be the most fun division to watch this year. And obviously, we hate the second half of our schedule. But thank you all for listening today. Thank you, DJ, for coming on this episode. Definitely had a lot of fun with you here. Definitely want to bring you back because, once again, this was a long past due having you on the show. So I'm Levi Jenkins, alongside here with Elijah Cower and DJ Crouse. We will see you all next week for the AFC South predictions.
Peace. DJ, give them your send-off.
Adios.
Yeah.
Adios.